Hello everyone, it's Fred again from Notes of a Nomad. I think this is video number 48. Today is the 4th of January 2021. Normally this time of year I would be in Australia. The picture on the screen is from Port Arthur, a historic site in Tasmania, where on the 4th of January 2018 I visited this site with my daughter and her family. And there's a picture of the penitentiary building, which I believe was built around 1857. But this area was a penal colony. And as you probably know, a lot of convicts were sent from England to Australia. And this particular area, Port Arthur on Tasmania, was one of 5 penal colonies in Tasmania. And this site was for people who had um, recommitted crimes. So they were second terms. So they sent them to this particular one. And it was a very tough penitentiary. It was based on a model from England, which was quoted as being a machine for grinding rogues into honest men. And they lashed people. There was solitary confinement where they were locked up for, 23 hours a day in some cases, all types of horrendous things. So it makes me think, whoa, the world is full of tough and negative things. But there's one other aspect in this area as well that I would like to show you. This is quite a, let me stop sharing my screen and show you. This was I don't know how clear it is, but you'll see there's a lot of buildings here uh, on the site. But there is also a memorial for something that happened not in the 1800s, but 24 years ago in 1996. This was the site of probably the worst massacre in modern Australia's time. In April of 1996, a fella killed 35 people and wounded 25. So, and this caused a big change in the gun laws in Australia. You may have heard about this, or you can find out about the what happened. So there was a big massacre on the site, and there's a memorial garden on this particular area at Port Arthur Historic Site as well. Not only about the penitentiary, but about the mass uh, massacre, the worst massacre. The fellow was caught and he's been in jail. And I think he received 35 life sentences for the 35 people he killed. But this just makes me think the world is full of lots of negative stuff that we see. And, it can be very a downer if we're not careful. And this reminded me of something that happened a year ago. Well, last year, not a year ago, less than a year ago in Canada, also in April. But this was April 2020 when the fellow in Nova Scotia killed 22 people and injured 3. The fellow went on a rampage in Nova Scotia. And there's also negative news, but that was another massacre, which also caused us to change some of our gun laws as well in Canada. But, the world can be full of negative stuff, but we have to cope with it somehow. And, what we can do is imagine the possibilities, what can be done about these things. Both of these gentlemen who were involved in these massacres, the one in Australia and the one in Canada, had tough childhoods. Alcoholism was part of their life as well. So, you know, What happens with children, this is something that I personally try and work on and say, hey, imagine what we can do if we can prevent this and try and cope. Other things that happen in the world is COVID-19 has affected all of us. But if we can reevaluate and look at the possibilities of what we can do, we can have a positive impact on the world. Even was listening to the radio this week, and they were talking about climate change and how that's impacting the world, but what some young people are doing and trying to do about that as well. So that's one of the things that I feel I can do. And we can all look and say, well, what can we do with all this negative stuff? Not only the massacres, but the COVID-19 has made us reevaluate what we can do. And it's probably a good thing to reevaluate how we can possibly have a positive impact. So that makes me feel working with children and trying to assist them to cope with all the challenges they're facing is something that I can do. Is there anything you can do? Anything we can all do to cope with some of the negative things in the world and make it a better place? So that's my philosophical um, thoughts of the day. Started uh, when 2018, on this particular day of the year, I was in Port Arthur historical site in the penitentiary in Tasmania up until today. So those are my thoughts of the day. So I wish you au revoir, adios, wishing you, your family, and friends lots of love and laughter through the rest of this year and beyond. Bye for now from Fred's Notes of a Nomad.